Hey, welcome back to the Man Cave Workshop. Hey up, how are you doing? Just pulling my chair up. Right, okay, on the bench, I've got this Roberts RT1 transistor radio. Now, I believe these were the first transistor radios that Roberts did. I've had it quite a while. As you see, I've cleaned up the case. I was just looking inside because this has been in storage for a while. There's some electrolytics down here. I've changed a couple there. It did work when I put it in storage, but we don't know that now. Sometimes they decide to expire while they're in storage. There's one thing on this one that I've noticed is, I don't know how clear you guys can see in there, but there's one capacitor on the other side of the board. And can we see that? You see the leg there? It's never ever been trimmed off. Can you see that in the light? Let me hold it steady. And that was done at factory. Anyway, I'm digressing, aren't I? Well, the idea of this one is they used to use an old style 6-volt battery, and this one was like this when I got it. It's got a few bits missing. You can see where there used to be a wooden something there to hold the battery, I imagine. I think it might have had an arm or something, and that's where the battery went. Now what I've noticed is with these, that the lantern batteries, like in that Roberts R707 I've just done, they do actually fit in. And they are 6 volts. So what I'm going to try and do is modify this and build a frame to accept this 6-volt lantern battery with just bits I've got around the workshop. So if you think this might be interesting, stick around and we'll see if we can work something out with it. So moving back on with this RT1. Now then, I've been thinking, which can be dangerous, and I want to keep this as standard as possible. So I don't want to be removing these battery snaps or anything. Because it's already had this piece of wood removed before I got it. I've noticed that there's a little strut in the corner there, and if I take that out, it gives us more space for this battery. Because otherwise it's going to foul the speaker here. So what I'm going to do is first of all just to see if that'll pull out just by hand, really. And it actually feels quite solid. Let's get a scraper, see if we can persuade it out with that. I think this is you can't see what I'm doing. I think this is glued in quite well. So what I'm going to have to do is heat that up to soften the glue, and then we can take that out. It gives us space. Now I've got just bits of, like I said, this project, it's just stuff I've got lying around. And what I'm sort of thinking is to have a bar there, to be able to compress these on, like in a Roberts R707. It'll make contact on that side, and then somehow, I've not thought of it yet, get the power from the terminals around and into the radio. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pause now because I'm going to go and get a hairdryer and heat this up and get this off first. Right, okay, we've got that really warm now. I've just got a very sharp chisel. Oh, I can already see it moving. Now there is, we're going all out of focus there. Come on, focus. there is a tack nail in it as well, so I'm going to try to just prise it off gently. I don't want to damage the case or anything. We could always get the mallet out, but there we go. So as you can see, it wasn't glued on very well. It's still quite hot, that. Yeah, once you get glue hot, it tends to come off without doing too much breakout. You know, like if you look at that, it's all nice and clear. You can't really see any points where it's damaged that piece. This is plywood, by the way. You see the stripes in the plywood, pretty good quality. Right, so let's see how that battery fits now. Imagine it fits in a lot better. And it just, I mean barely, just about clears that speaker. It touches the flat point there. So now I've got to think about how we're going to use this to... this is going to have to clear the speaker as well. So I think I'm going to have to cut out a piece like that out of this wood to go around the speaker, and obviously cut it to length and sand it all down. I'm going to use this piece of wood because it's thicker and it'll have more surface area to bond with the case. And really, it's just going to have a very... You see them springs just move in a bit? It's just going to need a tiny bit of tension. In fact, I might get the Roberts R707 out again to see how much tension they have for this battery to make contact to whatever contacts we're going to put on here. Okay, been having to think about how to not damage these either, to leave them on. And we've got here a modern snap. Now, these will actually snap on to it, so I can adapt that somehow. It's all going to get a bit messy. There's no sort of I've not seen it done before, so there's no sort of rules or anything about how to do it properly. But if it fails, all I want to have done to this radio is, obviously I'm going to keep that in case I need to put it back in if this fails, and I will be able to heat, once I've glued this in, if it's not looking good, I'll be able to take it all back and just move it completely back to standard. So let me get my thinking head on, have a little bit of a think about how I'm going to proceed doing this. Right, well, first of all, I think we need some marks to see where everything lines up. So I've got a really, really sharp pencil here. And I'm just going to put a line there. And then just roughly where the end of them springs go to. It's just going to give me a good idea. Obviously with pencil it's alright, you can always rub it off again. So, oh, this is going to have to sit quite a bit further out than I thought. Now the other thing is, once this is in, there's going to be no possible way to get this speaker out without removing this. I suppose because I have sort of restored the case to not a bad standard, there's no reason for that speaker to come out for years and years and years. I can still get the board out to do any work. So yeah, I'm gonna carry on. What I'm gonna do for now is cut this piece of wood to length. So again, with this sharp pencil, I think we want to be going to about there. Okay, let's get a square. Actually, let's go a little bit bigger because this end looks a bit gnarled up. In saying that, we are going to be removing that, aren't we? Now, so let's go to the mark. So this is just scrap wood. I'm just using literally stuff, sort of rednecking it, stuff that I've got lying about. Okay, so I'm going to take that over to my vise now, and just saw that, and then and sand all this rubbish off it so it's nice and neat. Okay, just for any vise fans, this vise has been in my family now for 3 generations. It's quite heavy duty. It's by a company called Record, and I'm just going to use this razor saw because it doesn't make as much mess as a tenant saw, just to cut this now. Okay, so now as you can see, that razor saw does a really nice job. Like I say, this is a piece of scrap wood. If you're wondering what this is, it's had some duct tape on it at some point. And it's rough this end, but I'm not too bothered about that because we're going to have to get, I'll lift it up, I'm going to have to get clearance. It's going to need to sit about that point. And as you can see, the speaker fouls it, or it fouls the speaker. So I'm thinking, I'm just going to look at this, how much clearance we've got here. So we've got roughly, I can't see, I'm talking about the clearance here. Got roughly a pencil top. So I'm kind of thinking if I go about there, and this is total guess now because of the shape of the speaker, but I think if we go to there, I think we'll clear it. So I'm going to draw a line across there now. See where them 2 marks are. And I'm going to cut that out. So there we are. Cut that piece out as well. So all this will be sanded clean. Sand this bit down as well. And this isn't going to have any glue on it anyway. This base is going to have the glue on because this is going to sit pretty much there. And as you can see, it totally clears the speaker. Let's pop the battery back in. Not sure how long this video has gone on for. We might have to make this a 2-part. So, just about got away with that. The one of the contacts just about touches. Can you see? It's I can move this around so you can see better. It's a bit tricky to film with all these angles. So that's going to sit there. And have a little bit of tension. So that's going to be glued in there. And then the next, well, not problem yet, the next thing to solve is to get some sort of metal contacts around here, so that when them prongs slide in, probably going to have to chamfer this edge a little bit so it's easier to slide them in, or get it lined up to where it's supposed to be. It's sort of going to go like that, isn't it? Yeah, what I'll do for now is we'll get this over to the sander, chamfer that edge off a little bit, get it all cleaned up, and see how we're doing for time on this video. Okay, I thought it might be nice for you guys to see a few of the other tools in the man cave workshop. This is a sander. It's a Clark Woodworker. It's a disc and a belt sander. It does have a shelf that goes on here. I'm not going to need that today. And because all it is, we're just going to lightly clean up this wood. So that's got the majority of that sticky stuff off. What I'm going to do now is drop the piece of wood. I'm just going to get good old-fashioned a block, sanding block, and some P600, and just do the rest by hand, because they can be quite aggressive, these things. Okay, so like I say, now I'm going back to the old-fashioned sanding block and sandpaper. I think this is wet and dry, and I do like the belt sander, but you know, it can be really aggressive. Sometimes it's better to do these things by hand before you go all crazy. Another way to do it would be I'd use this method sometimes, is actually just stick the sandpaper onto the bench with some tape, and then just do it by hand that way. So yeah, gonna wrap this video up now. So there'll be a part 2. So basically you can see where we're up to. We're just making a frame for that 6-volt battery. Okay, so thanks for watching so far. Glad you stuck with it. And as always, be good to each other, and I will catch you next time round.